Hello there, Eagles fans. Welcome back to Philly Eagles Therapy. I'm Basil,
And I'm Baz.
and we are recording Monday, March 9th, 2026, first day of technical legal tampering, which I hate what they call it that 'cause that's literally illegal. So
It's free agency. It's
I
already
know,
happening. It's
I
silly.
know. It's just funny because they say it because no one can sign their contracts yet. That's not doesn't happen till later. But still, I can't stand the whole it's legal tampering. It's tampering cannot be legal. So, but
Yeah.
it is the first day of free agency where players can start to negotiate contracts. Players can agree to things. There are no official signings, but mostly everything that happens today in the next few days is set in stone. Not a lot of action coming in to the Eagles, Dad. A lot going out, which sometimes can be hard as an Eagles fan. But we've always been pretty good at trusting Howie, and tell me your thoughts on what's going on.
Yeah, I was talking to my chiropractor earlier tonight, and he's a big football guy too. And he's like, "Oh, what's happening?" And I told him, and I said, "The way it works is the good teams get pilfered, just like when you win the Super Bowl, you get pilfered.
Yeah,
It's the way it works. We're not going to do any deals until um, after we can make sure that it doesn't mess up the compensation that we get for the guys we lost. That's just how he operates. So yeah, it's unfortunate that we have a few guys that we lost or left. A few I'm not surprised about, and I'm sure you're the same way.
absolutely. And we got a list to go through. All the stuff, the guys that went in. We'll talk about everybody who left. We'll talk about some of the other big agents around the NFL that happened, and we'll talk about some other free agents that are still out there that I have an interest in the Eagles possibly taking a little swing on.
Yeah,
So let's start from the very beginning. A very good place to start. If I can, sorry, I'm pulling up everything. Here we go.
that's okay.
So number one thing to mention, the thing that happened internally with the Eagles, we restructured the contract with Michael Carter the second. So expect him to be here this year and I think 2027. It keeps him under contract till and save some cap over the next 2 years. And I think it's smart, especially with what we're going to talk about in a bit. He's known for being a versatile player. He's played a lot of nickel in his career, but he's also played some safety, and he kind of worked on safety a little bit last year, and I think we could see a big chance of him being a starting safety this year with Reed Blankenship being gone. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, no, and that's the other thing about it. He's talking about the players that I mean, I was hoping we didn't keep this guy, but I didn't see enough from him last year. But obviously, I don't know what I'm talking about. So it's good they restructured him, and I think they got him for 2 more years,
Yep.
and this year, next year, and saved cap money. So that's all that matters to me, really.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's get into the players that are gone. I mean, let's start with kind of like in timeline order of what happened. So the day really started off with Jaelan Phillips. I mean, there might have been some stuff before, but pretty early on, we saw Jaelan Phillips getting a 4-year, $120 million contract. Which once you saw that number, you were like, "Oh, okay, yeah, no,
Come
that
on.
wasn't going to happen." We
First
had
of all,
no thought.
that's more than Milton Williams, and Milton Williams is like a top three defender on any team in the league. And this guy, yeah, that's just a ridiculous amount of money, crazy.
Yeah, and this Jaelan Phillips felt a lot like the Milton Williams of last year, where it was like, yeah, we want to keep him, but I
Right?
can't. It'd be really hard to. And then boom, first second of free agency,
Yeah,
here's $120 million. So yeah, Milton got 100 million last year, and Phillips getting 120. Yeah, that
yeah.
that, that was, you know, I don't even want to really say disappointed. I kind of was not. I I didn't have a feeling he was going to be back, but it is a big loss. I mean, this is a player that they wanted to sign. They were trying to sign him for a couple days. There was reports coming out that they had been negotiating and maybe trying to get him like 20 million a year. But
Right.
man, 30 million. I mean, this contract makes him. Is he a seventh best edge rusher in the NFL?
He's not even the
Okay,
top 20. I mean, that's the problem about Phillips. Now, he played well for us when we got him. The first few games, he was like, oh my God. And the last 5 games, he disappeared. He had what, 2 sacks, I think,
yeah,
for us in 7 games. We need a guy that's going to get a 1.5 per game. So, yeah, just to me, if you're going to be, and he was really good, don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
we might have 14 million a year, maybe is what we were looking for.
yeah.
30, you can't even compete. And the funny thing about it is, and I know you didn't bring this up about us re-signing Jordan Davis, but
Oh, of
Davis
course.
is supposedly if you look at the numbers, he's getting this much, but that's not the truth. He got a 3-year extension, but he's already signed for this coming season. So it's a
Correct.
4-year contract at 80 or something like that. So I mean, he's not getting the 20 whatever they're saying he's getting. So
Yeah.
that's how he does it. They blow you out of the water with these crazy numbers, and then you look at it and go, wait a minute, the extension doesn't count till after next season. We have him
Yeah.
this year for 12 million. So by the time next season comes around, these guys are going to be getting 40, and he's only be getting 22 or something like that. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I
No,
just wanted to say
it's
that
okay. Well, no, I was
because it
just going to say,
happens.
like, is Jaelan Phillips? This makes him the seventh highest paid edge rusher in the NFL, and that's where it's just like, oh no, he's not the seventh best edge rusher in the NFL. So,
No,
and we're not taking this time to crap on this guy. I think
right?
he's a really good. I think he's a really good player, and he makes
Yes.
great plays in great games and stuff like that. But yeah, no, 30 mil, it was just not going to happen.
Yeah, and he was also the
Because
thing
of
about him
the
is he's like a Philly guy too. Like he
yeah,
fit in the Philly
yeah,
vein.
and it's physically impossible to sign all these players. You know what I mean? Just pay that much money.
Yeah,
Um,
it is.
but
And the other thing
uh,
is we traded for him last year. We'll get that as a compensation pick next year. So that
correct.
3 we gave up for him, we're going to get back next year. So
Exactly. No, it does work out. And that was kind of, I think, the intention behind that was when they trade for him, I think they thought to themselves, like, oh, we'll trade for him. And then if we don't keep him, we'll probably get the same thing back, which
yeah,
will, help the team in the long run.
and those compensation picks are determined by the salary the guy gets,
Yes.
which seventh rank, what seventh defensive end now, money wise. So
Yep. Next player I want to talk about, and this was not too much of a surprise, but it kind of flew under the radar for a while. I had to find some other reports on the side that weren't on the main screen of free agency. Jahan Dotson,
yeah,
he's also leaving. He was going to. I kind of forgot. Where was he going?
Falcons,
Thank you.
two
Yes,
2 year.
yep.
I forget how much.
That's okay. But yeah, Jahan Dotson going to the Falcons. I think it was 2 year.
15,
I think you're
17,
right. Yeah,
yeah,
I think
up
you're
up
right.
to 17, 10
Yeah,
guaranteed.
that's good.
I mean,
That's good for him.
but that's a guy that got 2 passes a game. What do we come up
Yeah.
with? Something like that? No,
It's not even funny. I mean,
no.
it's he got less than a catch a game. I think we said, or was it
Yes,
exactly a catch a game?
I
I
think
think
it
it was
was.
exactly a catch a
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
No,
It's
and
ridiculous.
it's not a surprise, and you don't weep for it. You're kind of you kind of expected that one, and good for him. I'm happy
Yeah,
for him to get his money. He gave us what he gave us, and that was enough for
yeah.
me. you
He,
know,
he he got us that first Super Bowl touchdown last year.
I know, I
Almost,
know.
almost.
Almost.
Yeah,
No, that was great, and he'll be remembered fondly, I think, by the Eagles fans, which that's good for him. And
eight,
go make some money.
18, 18 receptions last year,
Yeah, yeah. To me,
262 yards.
to me, it feels like, I mean, as long as we have these two wide receivers in AJ and Devontae, the
Yeah,
third wide receiver is going to have to be an undrafted or a sixth round pick guy because it's
yes.
just we can't, or at least a guy in a rookie contract because
Yeah.
we just can't
Oh,
we
definitely.
can't spend
Darius
that money.
Cooper. Darius
Yes,
Cooper and some of the other guys, I don't even know their names.
Johnny Wilson. Yes.
Well, yes, Johnny Wilson.
The next big one, and then this one was a sad one, but it was expected. That everyone I think expected was Nakobe Dean. Obviously, we talked a lot about how we love to have Nakobe Dean back, but there was just no chance it was going to happen. We were paying for Bond. We
Yeah.
drafted Campbell to replace him, and
Yes, we did.
this was exactly what was expected. Hopefully, this turns into a compensatory pick next year at some point. But well, what are you going to do? It's one of those players that there's just no way. There's just no way.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. And again, uh, just like Phillips, big injury history. Again, not going to knock the guy down, but you're not going to pay that guy money who very possibly could. I mean, the Kobe's been injured several years for us,
Yeah,
several
yeah,
seasons. So you gotta play. The best ability is your availability, and that's just the way it goes.
yeah. Yeah, definitely a bummer to see, but this is the reason why we drafted Jahad Campbell,
Yes,
and this is what you completely expected from that position. So we wish
especially
Nakobe
when
well.
Yeah, I will be watching them. We'll be keeping our eyes on them. It's kind of
I don't
cool.
like I don't like the Raiders though, so it's a bummer.
I don't either, but we watch all the games, so we'll say, hey, oh, the Kobe Dean's playing, so we'll watch
Yeah,
for him. But okay, go ahead.
very good. And then the last one, and this one kind of hurt me the most just because I did think we were going to re-sign him. He was the only player on this list that I was pretty certain was coming back, and it's
Right.
Reed Blankenship. I know a lot of people, even you kind of mentioned, but a lot of people have mentioned, he didn't have a great season last year, and I get that, but I feel like, he's been with us since 22. He's played in two Super Bowls. He's been in the playoffs all 4 years. He's been a starter three and a half of those 4 years, and he's always been a solid guy. And the big thing that bothers me about this is, we talked about it. I've never been a fan of the whole exciting whites thing. I'm not
Right.
big into it,
I agree.
but there is truth to it. To being on the field with your best friend and how
Yeah.
that can help a team. And to me, this is the I thought this was the biggest loss. I really did.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to do their podcast like we do in two different locations
Yeah, that's right. I wonder.
because he'll be in Houston, which, again, they made a good push this year. They needed the players. I think they have 4 or 5 cornerbacks that are really good on that team. So we'll see how he fits in there. But yeah, I knew we weren't going to get him back only because there was never talk of an extension. And
Yeah,
you'd even hear the TV announcers say, "Hey, this guy hasn't." They never approached him, so they were moving on before they knew he was moving on. It's a
yeah,
shame because again, we really liked him. Boy, that Super Bowl year, he made some monster plays for us. I mean, he was great.
yeah.
So it's a shame to see him go, but you got a draft now, and hopefully we can hit a few home runs.
Yeah, this is what pushes kind of the envelope of, man, what are we going to draft? Because the whole talk has been these last few weeks. We're drafting an offensive tackle. You gotta draft. You gotta draft Lane's replacement. Then free agency happens, and you go, oh, yeah, we
Yeah,
can't draft a tackle. We need a
yeah,
draft. We
defensive
need to
end.
start.
We
We need a
we need
starting
an end.
safety. We need a starting safety. We need a starting edge. We might need a
Yeah,
starting guard. I mean, like this is. It's funny, free agency just makes you go, oh, I forgot that
yeah,
we're losing all these guys.
yeah.
We might need a tight end. you know.
That's the biggest thing about this year is it's so quick. I mean, right away you lost 3 potential guys that you thought were going to be starting next year in Dean and in Phillips, who it seemed like they really wanted to keep them, but
Yeah.
again, not at that kind of money. But you're right. Now it changes the entire draft for us, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Speaking of the draft, and we'll kind of mention it. Well, I'll do a quick one more rundown. So we mentioned the 4 guys. So Jaelan Phillips, who goes to Carolina, and
Right?
we said Jahan Dotson. You said going to. I forgot
Falcons,
again. Thank you, God. I
Falcons.
keep on. I keep thinking the Cardinals.
Yeah.
N'Kobe Dean going to the Raiders, and Reed Blankenship going to Houston. So what is that? 3 playoff teams I mentioned? No, no, no. Just
Fal-
just two. Just two.
yeah, just
Just two.
2.
But man, I'll tell you what, we'll get into some of the other teams, but we'll talk about that. But I wanted to really quick touch on the drafts. So last year, obviously after the Super Bowl, it became a big deal. We lost Bill Williams, we lost Josh Sweat, we walked other guys. Kenny Gainwell left. All this kind of stuff happened, and we were like, man, we're just kind of losing everybody. Well, the compensatory picks have finalized. So I have right
Right.
here the listing of the picks that we have. So I want to talk about that real quick
Sure.
for this year's
Yeah.
draft.
Yep. Coming up.
So it's funny because I went to this page early in the day. I went to it early in the day, and I was like, oh, okay, so we have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5. I was like, oh wow, we don't really have as much as I thought. Well,
Right.
then midday, I get a thing, compensatory picks, finalized, and I go back and I look. So we got the first pick, which is 23rd, the second round pick, the 54th, 3 third round picks. No, I apologize, 2 third round
Right.
picks, the 68th and the 98th, and then
Right.
2 4th rounders, 122, 137, 2 5th rounders, and then a 6th rounder. So all in all, in the first 98 picks, we have 4 draft picks,
That's pretty good.
which is pretty darn good. Top
Yeah. Yeah.
100,
It's good.
you have four
And
picks.
it's funny because I also looked at the compensatory picks and I saw we got 98, but somebody else got 97, and I kind of went, how's that? Why did they get that one?
Yeah,
And again, I didn't do the math and I didn't look it up, but I did see that. And I kind of went, okay, I mean, what's that all about? But we got a third, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth, correct?
yes, correct. So
Yes.
the third compensatory pick, that one's for Milton Williams. The fourth one is for Josh Sweat. And then the fifth and sixth, I don't know for sure, but
Right.
somewhere. So some of those guys, I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But that's how it works out. So you have four
Yeah.
compensatory picks in the third, fourth, fifth, and then sixth round. So,
Yeah. And
yep.
that's the max you can get. There's a cap on it. I forget what the cap is.
Ooh,
It
I don't
might
know.
be it might be four. I was looking at it when I was in the office waiting for my visit, but there's some kind of formula I saw because you can't get a whole boatload.
Yeah, you can't get like 20.
Right, right. I don't know where to see it though.
Yeah, I don't know. Mm, I'm not too sure.
Let's see.
Okay.
Cap.
But yeah, so we got
I'll find it.
two third rounders, a first and a second.
Four max.
Oh, so we
Four
get
is
four.
max.
All right,
So
cool.
that's
So we
good.
got we got four of them, and like we mentioned, four picks in the first 98, three picks in the first 70. You can say
Yeah,
that in the
yeah.
first 68. So I mean, that's hey, you can't ask for much better. It's pretty darn good.
Well, the other thing you have to look at is now some of these other teams aren't going to be drafting for that need that we need. So it
Correct.
does change the way you look at it. Like some of the
Correct.
QB guys,
100%.
some of the teams that have QBs or teams that don't have QBs now are going to have to draft to fill that need, which might help with the Tanner McKee situation. We
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, we'll talk about like the Panthers. They signed Phillips. They're not going to be drafting an edge now. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
The Raiders they got N'Kobe Dean and Quay Walker. They're not going to be signing a linebacker. You know what I mean? Like
True, true.
they're probably not going to be drafting these guys, or at least in the later
So,
rounds.
and that might
So
help Howie with his little things when he starts using an extra fifth and an extra fourth to move down into the 100th
definitely,
pick, something like that. So we'll see.
definitely, yeah. And we can assume with these we probably got for next year. You probably got a third round pick for Phillips and maybe a fourth for N'Kobe. I got to look at his contract. I don't know what the amount works to, but
Oh, he's 36 mil. He's three for 36. So some of them weren't big.
okay,
That's the one thing that got me about N'Kobe Dean is it's only a 12 mil a year, and he's getting 20 guaranteed, and that's something that you could have seen Philly do, but you got a first round pick from last year
you
sitting on the
just
bench.
can't.
You
Yeah,
can't do it. I mean,
the
first
big
of
one
all,
for me.
it looks
No,
bad
go
for
ahead.
the
No,
GM, right? It makes the GM look bad because what are we going to do with him now? You can't trade that guy. So, yeah, and it does set you up. And he played well last year. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Beth.
yeah, no. The one for me that really got me was Reed Blankenship because it was a 3 year, 24 million. I mean,
Right. I don't know the guarantee on that, but
it's only 80 a year. I didn't look up guaranteed either because I don't prepare for anything.
well,
But
it's all
I
no. The biggest thing about these contract numbers again, they're all fake anyway. You get cut the guy next year and you don't pay anything. So, I mean,
well,
that's
yeah,
what's funny about the NFL. They want you to think the first day of this tampering, $1 billion has been spent, but in
yeah.
reality, it's probably a couple hundred million.
So yeah, it's for Reed Blankenship it was 3 year 24.75, and the
16, yeah,
deal
right.
yeah 16.5 is guaranteed.
Yeah,
So two-thirds of the contract is
yeah.
guaranteed. So I don't know. I just thought, man, I thought we could have done that one. That one
So
just that's
I
the
read a
one that
little bit
bugged me.
about Reed. Reed was an undrafted player in 22.
Yes.
His contract was like 55,000, and then they
Yeah.
started to give him more money. I don't know
Correct.
what I forget what they call them, advancements or something, when he started
Yes.
doing well. But he's never cost the Eagles a lot of money. But it's still,
Never.
like you said, it's still a shame that they couldn't have worked him in because we like him. He's a good player.
Well, it's similar to people have asked before, with Jordan the Jordan Davis Jalen Carter, and it's like, oh, which one would you keep? And it's like, well, we have to keep both of them.
Right.
And oh, why? Because they were best friends and they played at Georgia together, and now they play in the NFL together. Like
Yeah.
there's something to the fact that I'm playing next to my brother every snap. And in football, there's the mentality of, oh, we're all family. But this guy's literally my brother. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
No, it's
like
agreed.
this guy's been my best friend since I was 19. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's a thing to that, and that's what the Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, similar to the Cooper DeJean, Reed Blankenship, and they only played 2 years together, so
Right.
it's not the same to an extent, but there is that fear to me with like, man, like, does Cooper take a step back because man, my best friend's not here? Like,
Right.
there's something to it. I worry about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And that makes sense. I mean, that could be a problem. I don't think it will because Cooper is so darn good.
I know he's great.
But
He's great,
and then who
and
knows? We might have got
he's
in the draft this year that's
yeah.
twice as good, right? So you
Yeah.
don't know.
And Cooper, he's close with Quignon too. So they were
Yeah.
drafted together, so there's not really too much to fear. But I do. It's just a small thing. But
Yeah.
okay. Do you want to talk about some other NFL free agents, non-Eagle?
Yeah, there was some surprises out there too. I was
Yep.
very surprised of one or two of them, but you go ahead and I'll
So
comment.
before free agency, we should mention Max Crosby's not going to be a Philadelphia Eagle. Max Crosby got traded to the Raiders for two first round picks. I'm sorry, got traded to the Ravens for two first round picks.
Yes, this year or next
The,
year.
this year and next year. So the Raiders have they're my next team to mention because they have a franchise altering chance they have ahead of them, dude.
They do.
Yeah,
But they
and
were
that's
the
what
worst team in the league too. So
I know. Well, this is what I'll mention here. So big day for the Raiders. I already mentioned some of them, but they get Tyler Linderbaum, the center who
center,
played for the Ravens, great center, and that's a huge thing because they're going to be drafting Fernando Mendoza, and to get a veteran center who could be his protector right in front of him, snapping the ball,
right?
genius. And then they shored up the linebacker pool with Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker.
Yeah, from the
So
back.
yeah, great day. I thought it was a really. I thought the Raiders are, to me, the Raiders are the winners of free agency.
Yeah, so
I mean,
far.
we'll include it if you include the trade to it. I mean, they
Yeah.
traded Crosby, who's great. That's a huge loss, but they walk away over these past few days with two first round picks and three fantastic players.
And Max Crosby, as good as I love the guy, I think he's fantastic. I really want him. Two first round picks is huge, but of
Oh,
course,
absolutely.
and Baltimore wasn't that good last year, so that was a mid range pick, right? So
Yes.
that's going to really help them shore up whatever they need to shore up. But who knows that if their GM's doing anything right because they've been picking bad for years.
Yeah, I know it's true.
But we'll see.
But yeah, big day for the Raiders. I have them as kind of the top team. Another big day for Carolina, shoring up their defense. So Carolina had a pretty good, got to the playoffs last year. Kind of fumbled into it. They were the low team, but they played the Rams really close. They beat the Rams earlier in the year. They have some playmakers on the offensive side, and then they signed Jaelan Phillips and Devin Lloyd.
Yeah, yeah. That's now they need a wide receiver.
Yeah, I know. Well, they got Ted McMillan, who had Rookie of the Year last year. So
Uh,
yeah, pretty darn
Stroud,
good.
yeah.
You're
We'll see.
thinking?
We'll
Are you
see.
thinking? Are you thinking the
That's
Texans?
Houston. No,
Yeah,
no,
I
you're
know.
right.
Bryce Young. Yeah.
Bryce
Um.
Young, he was good.
Yeah. The biggest surprise of the day I have is Malik Willis.
Yeah, okay. Miami, I
That's right.
mine
Yeah.
was Evans, but go ahead.
That I have coming up soon. Yep.
Yeah, I know.
But Malik Willis gets like 60 million guaranteed.
67, 67. Yeah,
67 million guaranteed. Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP, going to the Chiefs. That's a big deal.
it is. It is a big deal.
Chiefs have struggled with that running back position. I mean, ever since they started winning Super Bowls,
Yeah,
and shoring that up is a huge deal.
they needed a running game for I don't know 3 years now. And Pacheco
Yep.
was good years ago, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I have Mike Evans to the 49ers. That was crazy.
he that was huge. I just can't believe he left the
I
Buccaneers. I
know.
just can't. I still can't
I
believe it.
I know. I agree. 3-year contract too.
He's 32, so
I know. I know.
played how
But
many games did he play last year?
uh,
7?
7. Yeah, not
It
too many.
wasn't many, and
He was
it
the
wasn't.
first. It was the first like major injury of his career. He'd never really been injured before.
Yeah, but it was hamstrings, and it continually came back, and it came back. Well, he did hurt his shoulder or arm or something, but
Yeah,
yeah, he didn't play a bunch. So, 32-year-old wide receiver for that kind of money, I don't know.
I know. Two big ones for the Buccaneers: Kenny Gainwell, our old friend,
Yeah,
and Alex Anzalone, from the
linebacker from
Lions.
Detroit.
Yep,
Yeah, he's
yep,
he's a good player. And I was surprised the money he got was not huge. Kenny
yep.
Gainwell got 2 for 14, so he's 7 mil a year, which is great for him because he didn't make much in his career so far. So that's great. And he was great with Pittsburgh last year. I think he
Yeah,
was their leading receiver, which is nuts. I
maybe.
think
Well,
I
they
think
have
he
DK
was.
Metcalf. They had DK Metcalf.
I
I
I
don't think
don't
so.
know. I think I read it or heard it, but
You make a lot of bold statements without backing them up, man. It's a little
let me
scary.
see. Let me see here. But yeah, I thought to me the Evans one was big because he's going to the Niners. That's that's huge. He's a big target. He does a lot in those end zone
Yeah,
touchdowns.
it's a bummer. I know it sucks. It's disgusting. Let me pull up receiving yards here. DK Metcalf, Kenny Gain was their second leading receiver.
Yeah, yeah, 114. No, I'm sorry.
486 receiving yards.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, the maybe I should have saved the most surprising of the day to this one. This one shocked me. Travis Etienne going to the Saints.
Well,
I
that's our
I don't understand that.
yeah. Kellen Moore, he was
He was
building.
on. Well, I know, but he was on the Jaguars. They won
Yeah,
13 games last year,
yeah.
and he goes to the Saints. And I get people would say he's from New Orleans, so he is going home. But I'm just why would you go to the Saints?
He
I
had a
don't
thousand
really.
yard, 1,100 yards rushing last year.
He had a pretty good
Yeah,
season.
yeah. It's a
I
good
mean,
season.
I was very shocked. I like very shocked.
Yeah,
I don't
that
get
is.
that one at all.
Yep. That's you got to get your bag, buddy. 4 for 52 for him. That's a lot of money.
Isaiah Likely to the Giants was a frustrating one.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He's a very good player, and I
Yeah,
think he
he
was
is.
kind of you could compare it to Goddard kind of in his career early. He was kind of getting stunted by Zach Ertz, and that's kind of what Likely was with Mark Andrews. And now he's finally getting the chance to be his own guy, and I'm not excited for that. I don't like that. I don't
Yeah.
like that he's on the Giants. I really don't like
Well,
it.
I mean, just because for a rookie second year quarterback now to have the tight end like that, you can go to. They also have neighbors, so yeah, it's definitely going to tighten up the NFC East. I think a little bit there.
Definitely.
I think it
I
will.
mean, they lost Wandale Robinson, but yeah, getting Malik Neighbors back, and then of course the young guys in the Cam and Scotty Boo and Jackson
Yeah,
Dart.
yeah.
Not one I was very happy with. And then the one I wanted to mention, our good buddy Isaac Sayamalo going to the Cards, 3 year contract.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't
good
see
for
that.
him. Three
Okay.
year contract, 31 million. I'm happy for him. It's good for him.
Now he's got to be in his 30s by now, right?
I would assume so. He was drafted with Wentz, I believe, maybe the year before. He's been around for some time now. But he's a really good player,
93.
and yeah, he's a really good player, and I'm happy that he's getting some money from the Cardinals.
32, be 33 during the mid-season.
I hope he
But yeah,
steals some money from a stupid organization, Cardinals.
yeah. I mean, we loved him. He was a great player for us.
Yeah. Anybody else you wanted to mention that I skipped that? That's all I had listed.
I don't really think I do. What was that? The Cowboys made a trade with the Pack. Got that
Rashawn
defensive
Gary.
end. Yeah, got a defensive
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
But
Pro
it's funny.
Bowler.
I was watching. Oh, what's the Pack guy that I watch?
Oh yeah,
You know,
Thomas Grossi. Yeah,
Thomas
Tom
Grossi
Grossi.
was talking about. He said we were going to cut him. We were going to cut him, and the Cowboys
I
gave him
know.
a fourth rounder next year, which is kind
Gotcha.
of odd when you do that. But if you're going to get any kind of pick for a player,
I mean,
you might as well take it if
yeah,
you're going to cut a player.
that's where the Bengals really messed up because if you don't have anybody else to mention, I wanted to jump into free agents who are still out there
Oh
that
yeah,
I have some interest in, and maybe the Eagles will take a look at. And number one on the list is, of course, Trey Hendrickson.
yeah,
Speaking of the Bengals, the moron Bengals who held him for another season, and now he's a free agent. They could have traded him for a freaking one or a two or
yeah,
something. They could
yeah,
have traded him for something, and they kept him, and they were morons. And now he's still out there. Now there was some early rumors that he'd be a Cowboy. Nothing really grew from that, thankfully.
right,
Hopefully, nothing does. He's still out there, and I think the Eagles still have him. I think the Eagles still have some interest in him, and it depends on the money you're spending. You don't want to
yeah,
spend. It's tough. He's definitely should get more money than Jaelan Phillips, but you don't want to spend much more money than that.
yeah. Well, the big thing about him is, and I was chatting with Vento earlier today about it, and I mentioned Hendrickson. Do you want to come to a team and win some games, or you just want to go to a team and get 30 million a year? So hopefully that's something that we can work in and do one of those contracts because he's up there in years and he's kind of been off injured in the last couple seasons,
So
if I'm not mistaken.
last year he didn't play much. He was injured. The year before that, he had 17 and a half sacks the 2 years before that. So he's been pretty darn good recently.
Yeah, no, real good. But yeah, he's
Uh,
31. He's 31. Won't be 32 till December. So he's definitely got some more fight in him, I'm sure.
yeah. My next player is going to be David Njoku, who I wanted to mention. So David Njoku, a player who's a little bit on the older side. He's a little long in the tooth. I believe he's actually older than Goddard, but he's been a more productive player than Goddard, or maybe not more productive, but around the same level of productivity in his career. This year, he only played in 12 games. The year before that, 11 games. So maybe a little bit of worry about injury. His least games played was 4 games one year. He mostly plays in the teens, 13, 16, 14, 16. And last year in the 12 games, he only had 293 yards with 4 touchdowns. He's a big red zone target.
Right.
I think he could be helpful with that, especially if you expect to lose Goddard. We don't know what's
Right.
going on there yet. But
Exactly.
if we do lose Goddard, I think Joku's a good target to
Oh,
think about being a quasi number one, number two if we're
right.
drafting a guy in the
Right.
draft.
Yeah. A lot of the tight ends were got taken today. Of course, Travis Kelsey's coming back. You heard that.
Good.
Um, yeah, and I think some of the major tight ends. There was a couple signed anyway. I'm not sure
Okay. Yep.
if Otten. I think he might have signed with somebody. But yeah,
He
that's
he's
kind of
he can't
hard.
he went back to Tampa Bay.
Okay, so he's re-signed. Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a lot I didn't quite get all today, but yeah, I did
Yeah.
follow a lot of it. So it was hard to find a good show because a lot of them start talking other sports and it
It's
was
tough.
driving me nuts.
The next one I have is Jaquan Brisker, safety from the Bears. He's still out there. He's only 26 years old. He'll be 27 by the time the NFL starts. He's got 4 picks in his career. He's got an interception each year of his career, but he is defined as a Swiss Army knife kind of defensive player. He can play
Wow.
safety. He can play the nickel. He can play up in the zone. So he is a guy that'll get his mouth, get his nose in there. I think I had it here. His sack numbers. He's had 7 sacks in his career as a safety. So
Wow.
he's definitely he plays around the line of scrimmage. He can go into the backfield. He's got 11 quarterback hits in his career and 12 tackles for loss. So he's not afraid to get dirty. I think
That's
this is a
good.
safety. I think this is a big time safety we can kind of look at to possibly replace that Reed Blankenship spot.
Yeah, because Fangio loves to do that blitzing safety every once in a while, along with his linebackers. So that would be a
Yep.
good player.
Yep. Similar player to him, I have Tariq Woolen, another guy who can kind of play a couple different positions. He's a bigger guy. He's 6'4", and he's a big ball hawk. Early in his career, he was kind of God, his rookie year of his career, it looked like he was going to be the greatest player ever. He had 6 interceptions. That
Wow.
was the year he tied the league lead with C.J. Gardner Johnson.
Okay. Okay.
And since then, he's gotten another 6 interceptions on top of that. So 12 in his career, averages 3 a year. He does not get any sacks, so he's not much of a quarterback,
More of a
rusher.
cover. Yep.
But yes, but I think he'd be a good corner, especially if you're looking at him being opposite to Quinion with Cooper in the slot.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if we do grab any of the free agents that are out there. But I don't know when the timeline for that would be. They'll probably wait and see who sits around and doesn't get much attention.
Yep. Running low on time here. I'm going to go through these next ones pretty quick. 2 edge players. Jonathan Allen, who was on Minnesota, an edge, got 3 sacks last year, played 75% of the snaps. And then another one I'm interested in is Jacob Martin. Now, both of these guys are on the older side, 30 to 31, but they play edge, so it's not a
Right.
super, grueling position. Jacob
Right.
Martin was an edge from Washington. He had 5.5 sacks last year. He played 61% of the snaps. I think he could be a good role veteran. Similar but better than the Azeez Ojolari, Josh Uche thing.
Right.
I think he could
Right.
be a better veteran who can be
Yeah.
productive with a lower snap count.
Well, we're going to need some rotation out there, and we don't have many right now. So you're going to need a couple, I think, really to get started, and then go through the draft and see if we can get anybody there.
Dude, are we going to draft an edge with the first pick?
I don't know. So far they're saying a tight end, which is the
Yeah,
Sadiq
Sadiq.
guy, but I just don't see him doing that. I just don't see him doing that.
That's the sexy pick. Now
Yeah.
that's not what the Eagles do. So
Right. Right.
you could fully expect it to be an offensive lineman. But that's the man. It's hard nowadays because with no Stoutland, what's your confidence in developing mid late round offensive linemen? You know,
True. True. But you never
because
know. I mean,
because in your mind you'd think, okay, we got 2/3, 2/4, 2/5. That's 3 offensive linemen easily right there.
agree.
But
Agree.
can you you know can you develop them?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know, but
I agree with you there. I mean, it's something that we have to look at, and hopefully we're able to. But then again, they're going to start trading picks like crazy. So that's one of the
Oh,
things
I
that always
know.
happens. But it
It's
matters until
impossible
we
to
get there.
predict this stuff. It's
Yeah, it's
impossible to
it's
predict this stuff
yeah,
because there's just so many things. There's so many trades. They trade so much.
right.
It's impossible to predict it. But as of right now, the offensive line room, you're looking at the starters in Mailata. Mailata, Dickerson, Jurgens, Steen, and Johnson. And other than that, there's Miles Hinton, Drew Kendall, Willie Lampkin, and Cam Williams. All of them second-year players. Every single one of them
Right.
was in last year's draft.
Right.
So it's hard.
Yeah.
Especially if do you expect Fred Johnson to be back? I don't know.
Right.
I would love to have him back, but
Yeah.
it's hard. He's a hard player to predict because I thought he was going to get a great place to start last year, and then they traded a 7th round pick for him, got him back. It's like,
Right.
geez, they did what the heck?
Yeah, you
But
got a good paycheck out of that too.
yeah, would he want to come back without Stout? You don't know. So
That's true.
I would assume it's an offensive lineman, offensive tackle with that first pick still,
Totally agree.
which we have some time to talk about. Well, not today, but we got a little bit of time to talk about the draft coming in the next few weeks. So we'll be looking forward to that, looking at players and everything like that. But do you have anything else to talk about with free agency, Dad?
No, but I'll tell you what, I was surprised how fast it hit and how hard it came. And of course,
I
the
know.
cap number's risen by what, 30 or some million. So
Yeah,
teams that didn't have cap money now do. So
yeah,
that's a good thing for us.
yeah, yeah. It's funny. I'm like, it's so funny how you look forward to free agency because it's the next thing on the list. Like, oh, we got free agency, and then I woke up and forgot about it completely. It was 10 o'clock, and I was like, oh crap, like, oh what? And, I went. I just kind of, I go on the Eagles every day when I'm at work. If I'm doing nothing, I'll look at the Eagles real quick
Sure.
just to see something. And I forgot. I'm like, Jaelan Phillips gone. I'm like, oh, I
Yeah,
forgot.
that was quick. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
driving when you told me, you just sent me a thing that said N'Kobe, and I knew right away that meant he was
yeah,
gone. And then I was driving, so I really couldn't, look him up. So
yep.
I was like,
I know.
what's happened? Where's he going? But yeah, that's
Yep.
a bummer.
I know it. I know it is, bro.
But
Well, man,
it's
if
what
that's
it
it,
is.
let's go ahead and say our goodbyes. I got to get to bed soon so I can wake up and go to the zoo tomorrow.
Nice.
All right. Let's say our goodbyes now. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok if you like Philly Eagles Therapy. Do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe and comment down below your thoughts on the free agency and the beginning of it. We'll probably have another episode come out next few days talking about the other things that happen because it's all so quick and there's always a new thing.
Yep.
So we'll probably talk to you all soon. But until then, from all of us here at Philly Eagles Therapy, I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
Go Birds.
Fly, Eagles, fly.